Listen to me. We don't want to kill any of you. But trust me, we will. Wake them up a little!
This whole thing is pretty much done. We're more ghosts than people.
You have got to keep faith. They will not crush us.
Good old Dutch. My best friend. You know how we met? Pair of hucksters trying to rob each other. Back in 78 or thereabouts.
You have to love yourself a fire. It's one of the blessings. Sure, we can have fire. And we can have the knowledge of fire. But with that comes the knowledge of everything. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a robbery.
Sons of Dutch. Makes us brothers. Sometimes, brothers make mistakes.
You'll never change. I know that.
All of you venerate savagery. And you will die savagely.
Get out here! Stay strong. Stay with me.
Alright, welcome to Handy with the Steel. This is chapter 10. Not sure what the title of the chapter will be just at this point. We'll see how it goes, and I guess we'll find out. This takes place a few hours after the funeral of Sheriff Gunderson. The location is the Jewel. What has happened is Jessa Dunn has returned home after the funeral, after hearing Red Kate's speech at the funeral, and has asked Sticky Joe to go call on the madam so they could have a chat. And Sticky Joe heads into town that evening. And the paper from this day I will read. This has been seen in the last chapter as well, but not all the players have seen this, and I do this to reinforce what day we're on, so there's no confusion. Tragedy. The cowardice of the Yellow Man knows no bounds. Our sheriff, the affable Greg Gunderson, was ambushed by Injuns. These yellow savages murdered our poor sheriff and injured his deputy, Bill Tucker. I call for all people to rise up against these godless heathens and fight for your manifest destiny. Sheriff Gunderson will be laid to rest this afternoon at 1 o'clock in the town cemetery. Reverend Carson is to preside. Wear your best attire, no drunkenness or lawlessness. May Jesus Christ call Sheriff Gunderson into his holy arms through the pearly gates of heaven. The next article is David Boys found. Deputy Nelson and Lou Longley found the David Boys hiding out among the foothills of the Rockies near the lumberjack operation northwest of town. Reports confirmed that the David clan was shot down like the dogs they are. Bill David is said to have murdered a whore when evading arrest. She was known as Josephine and worked at the Jewel. Her funeral will be scheduled at a later date. Alright. Any questions?
No.
Whoops, wrong one. Alright. Give me one sec. Roll 20 jukebox is amazing.
And there we go. We do still have vision on the other one as well.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Cool. Just making sure.
I don't know what's up with Roll20 and the jukebox, but it is.
I can hear it.
You can. See, I can't. That's the thing.
Yeah, I can't either.
You
Well,
cannot,
maybe
or you can.
cannot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna refresh.
Oh no, it's just the volume on mine. Now I can hear it fine.
Alright, finally. Okay. Sticky Joe walks through the swinging doors of the Jewel Saloon. This is certainly his first time here. And he looks around and sees almost no clientele. There might be a miner or two drinking at the bar. There's one bartender there and another girl who appears to be a whore. You guys can take it away.
Yeah, so I take it Albert recognizes the look of this person.
Yes, you both
Yeah,
would.
give it everything. Yeah, he kind of turns, deals with some things, kind of eyes Clem to see if she's spotted it or not.
Yeah, Clementine kind of immediately glances over at Sticky and does the exact same thing to Albert. Probably their eyes meeting at the same time. She gives a little nod to him.
Yeah, he grabs a small shot glass and fills it with whiskey. Turns around and... Hello there. Welcome to the Jewel.
Sticky kind of enters the place and takes it all in for a moment and whistling an Irish tune as he walks over to the bar and sits down, tips his hat back a little and sees the whiskey's already been poured and, oh, much obliged. Why don't you go ahead and chase that with another whiskey for me? And takes the glass and downs it right away.
Yeah, sure enough. If you can, he kind of motions over towards the sign. Fastening firearms on over, and we can get you set up with some proper drinks.
Sticky notices the sign and kind of pauses, looks to Clementine, and doesn't see very many people in there, and though reluctant, kind of pulls out each 6-shooter and, oh, take care of my babies for me.
Of course.
Slides him across the counter
Yeah,
to
Albert.
the bartender.
Yeah, he takes them and sets them down below. Just got a nice new lockbox for everything after, well, an incident a while back. So they'll be nice and tucked away.
What incident are you talking about?
Oh, you didn't hear? Well, some of those David brothers caused some issue. Took their guns back while we were away. Hey, but it's all solved now. We got a good lockbox, a nice strong lock on it, so there shouldn't be no trouble.
Oh no, I'm not the one to go around hitting whores.
That's good. Speak of the devil. He kind of motions the room. It's been quiet today. We got a pretty damn good discount if you'd like to head on up.
He kind of looks over to Clementine and rests an elbow on the table and kind of gives her a thorough appraising and no, oh, not today, but thank you.
Are you sure? It's damn cheap, and he'll list off a price that is, like, by all means far too cheap for anything like this.
I'm not much for business, but I could tell you that if your whores are cheap, that usually doesn't mean a very good thing. No, I'm here on a different kind of business.
Oh, really? What is that?
Well, I'm here to see the owner of the establishment.
Oh, really? I take you know her or something? Can't
I'm
say
Miss
I
Kate.
recognize you.
No, I do not. I'm on the behest of Jessa. Perhaps you've heard of her.
Would Albert have?
Nah, I mean, you can do a streetwise.
He actually is pretty high streetwise, I think. So
Mrs. Jezebel Dunn. She owns a few mines in the area.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I would say it's pretty. Yeah, you've heard of her.
Oh, yeah. Rings a bell. Alright, well, I suppose I can head you on up if you'd like.
Kinda. Well, that'd be mighty fine of you. Kinda looks at Clementine and does the cliche kind of little flick of the finger under the chin like the nice, oh, hello. But nothing more.
Albert will slide him another shot of whiskey. You can just follow me on up here.
Clementine gives a small smile as she passes by Sticky Joe. As she kind of passes by, she'll give him a little bump. She'll put his hand kind of on his waist. Are you sure you don't want anything maybe sweet or spicy before you see the boss?
Oh, if you would have asked me that a few weeks ago, I would have jumped at the chance, but as for today, I'm quite good, thank you.
You know, I'm usually not used to people saying no to me. She kind of slides her hand over to his other waist. She doesn't block his way, but she starts kind of feeling him up a little bit.
Hard to say. Joe does not object too much, but doesn't let it get too far before going, oh, well, I'm sure a pretty one like you isn't much used to hearing the word no, but today's the day.
She'll withdraw her hands, and you see a small pout. There is a kind of a large bruise on the left side of her. Quick question, Tet. How do I do that?
Okay, hold on. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
I'll give you a second to do.
Thank you.
Just keep going.
Yeah, she removes her hands, and you see kind of a small pout form on her face, and you see that large kind of bruise. There was some swelling kind of around the left side of her face, like she kind of gotten a large wound there, maybe punched or slapped or something like. She's mostly covered it up with her hair. It's kind of draped in front of it, but she does pull away while still staying slightly close. Well, I just hope maybe in either a few more days or even a few weeks, you might be coming back for me. I like waiting for the good ones.
Joe laughs at that. Oh, the good ones. Haven't heard that in quite a while.
Well, you could hear it all the time with me.
Oh, but I prefer it to be the truth.
Well, let's get you on up to see the boss, alright?
Much obliged.
Yeah, of course, not a problem. Clementine, if you'll see the things while I head him on up.
Oh, of course, Albert. And she makes her way behind the bar, but she does watch the two of them out of the corner of her eye as they go up. But she tends to the one or two people that are in there.
Joe, being familiar with whores, is definitely going to check his pockets to make sure she didn't rifle through them like the whore she is.
Go ahead and roll perception.
Second there.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Nothing appears to be missing.
As Albert leads him on up, he kind of turns. Oh, and Clementine, if you could see some water for the horses as well.
Oh, yeah, of course, Albert. I'll get you that right away. She flashes him up a smile.
And then Albert will lead Joe on up. I don't think I caught your name, did I?
Oh, my name's Joe.
I'm Albert. Albert Graham. Good to meet you, Joe.
Oh, you worked here long.
Yeah, well, fair enough while. But,
Seems quite the nice place.
oh, yeah. Certainly been turned around since the way it used to be. A little bit run down, but now it's, well, as fancy as it gets in this area.
Quite true.
He'll, kind of, aside from that, any kind of small talk that gets brought up, he'll, pursue it. But aside from that, he leads him straight on up.
Clem, are you staying downstairs?
Oh, I was just about to whisper you
Yeah,
something.
go ahead.
But yes, she's staying downstairs.
Okay. Alright, let me switch this on. You head up the stairs and the creaking of the stairs. You can hear it as you round up and go to the walkway, and there's a fancy picture of looks like somebody going west in a wagon cart. You look at it for a moment, and Albert passes you through a hallway with several rooms, and then at the end of the hall there's a thick door which he comes to. You're gonna knock? What you gonna do?
Yeah, Albert will call in. Hey, Red, friend of yours named Joe's here to see you. And he'll kind of motion for Joe to head on in.
Joe kind of almost says, I never said, I was her friend, but keeps to himself and waits for the door to open and nods and thanks to Albert and walks on.
As the door opens,
You
all
are
you can
really
really-
soft again.
Is that any better?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
Okay. As you walk in, all you see is a woman in a dressing gown turned toward the wall with long red hair. And she's taken something out of a drawer. And she's closing the drawer, and she says, "That'll be all, Albert. You just shut the door behind you."
Yeah, you want me to wait outside? Or
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Albert then kind of gives a nod, closes the door, stands on the other side of it.
And as the door closes, she turns to face Joe, and the room is dim, but there's still plenty of light coming in the window. And she just looks you up and down for a long moment. I don't know if you recognize her right away, but she looks like she's definitely given you more than what would be the usual once over.
Joe kind of admires what he's looking at when she was facing away, and then as she turns, it takes a few moments for him to realize who he's looking at, and his mouth kind of slowly goes agape as he realizes why he recognizes her, and he kind of finally blurts out, "Oh, Jesus Christ, you gotta be fucking kidding me."
Oh, that's the look I was waiting for. Now, don't you think about running. Al's got orders to shoot you if you come out of this room without me giving him the A-OK.
Oh, that's what I get for giving up my guns. So, how the fuck did you find me?
She laughs. It's not just me that's been looking for you. There's all these Buffalo soldiers been passing around posters all around town. Didn't take me but 1 second to realize it was you, even though it's been a couple years. As a matter of fact, the strange thing is, You owe your freedom and your life to me. You didn't see any posters on your way into town now, did you?
I can't say that I did. Now, why would you do something like that for me?
Oh, we'll get to that. Now, you just remember, you can make it out of this all safe and sound, and all your body parts where they started out. As long as this conversation goes the way I want it to.
Joe kind of looks to the window, and you can see him kind of doing the calculation of, will he survive the fall to the ground, before ultimately deciding not to, and takes his hat off and kind of runs his hair through his head and hand through his hair, and kind of goes, "Oh, do you mind if I sit down? This might be a while."
She turns to face him completely, and you can see that she had probably been pulling out of the drawer in her desk a pistol, and she's got it pointed at you. She says, "You can go have a seat right there in that chair for the moment. Now, what is it that you came here to talk to me about? That's what's got me curious."
He walks over and sits down and kind of lets out a breath and looks at the gun, gauging the caliber and chances of surviving a close gunshot wound, and wonders how good Kate is with that thing before getting to the question she asked, and ultimately goes, "Well, I've recently come under the employ of Miss Jezebel Dunn. Have you heard of her?"
Miss Jezebel Dunn. Why, yes, I have.
Well, she happens to want to have a meeting with you. She found some of the words you said here over the last day quite inspiring.
Miss Jessa Dunn wants to talk to me. She looks very amused. This is fortuitous. I knew there was a reason to keep you breathing. I've been wanting to have a chat with that woman. I think we can be useful to each other.
Oh, how do you think?
Well, no offense, Mr. You know, I never really got your name. I know it's Joe.
Most people call me Sticky Joe.
She rolls her eyes. All right, Sticky Joe. I think that conversation belongs mostly to me and Mrs. Dunn, but we can leave it at there's things that she can do for me that I can't do because of she gestures around her my position in life, and there's things that I can do for her precisely because of my position in life, things that would tarnish her reputation.
Joe kind of thinks of her reputation and what he'd seen over the last day, and kind of shrugs. He goes, "Oh, what kind of things do you think you'd be offering to Miss Dunn? I know you're worried about her reputation, and I know there's certain things that you can do for her and vice versa, but you're going to have to give me something to take back, don't you think?"
She's the one who wants to talk to me.
Well, I don't know how much she'll want to talk to you when I have to tell her what our little history together now might complicate things.
You think you're going to tell her about this little history? You have a lot of confidence in this woman's ability to forgive you. I mean, how do you think a respectable woman like Mrs. Dunn's going to take it when it gets out that the man that she's been trusting to work for her is wanted, a wanted criminal with a bounty on his head, and that there's soldiers in town looking for him? How useful you think you're going to be to Mrs. Dunn when she finds out?
Joe kind of quiet as he mulls that over, knowing that the answer is not much, before he finally Oh, well, I suppose you do have a little bit of a point. But then again... Go ahead.
No, you finish.
The question is, besides the Buffalo Soldiers, who do you think is looking after me?
Looking after... I'm sorry, how did you finish that? Looking after...
After me.
Oh, well, besides them, I'm sure there's plenty that would like to collect the bounty on your head. I'm not the only one who knows about it, or about you. There's people in this town that are only keeping their mouths shut because I've told them so. Now, first of all, as a gesture of good faith, and because, quite frankly, I don't want you dead yet, let's take care of the important things. And she stands up and she gestures over to a side table. Would you bring me that wash basin?
Kind of hesitates and slowly stands up, keeping his eyes on the gun, and walks over silently and picks up the wash basin and brings it over to her.
She sets the gun down behind her and she picks up some shaving soap and she pours out a little bit of water into the dish. And she picks up a brush and starts to whip the soap and the water together. That facial hair of yours is quite recognizable. I'm afraid it's gonna have to go.
Or are you suggesting I should shave right now?
You shave? Oh no, honey. A man shave himself? Without even a good mirror. And she looks around. That's not possible. I'm gonna shave you. And with the hand that she set the gun down with, she picks up a straight razor. She gives him a big smile.
Joe kind of looks at her for a minute and once again looks to the window and pauses and...
Now. If I wanted you dead, you'd be dead.
All right then. Where do you want me to sit down?
She sits back down in her chair. And she pats her lap. You come over here and you just lay your head back in my lap.
Joe, being super uncomfortable in all this, takes his duster off and sets it over the chair he had been sitting on before, moving over to Kate and obliging her and kind of leaning his head back into her lap.
Kate looks down at you from above and takes off your hat, sets it to the side. She starts to pull your hair back behind your head and kind of strokes the side of your face. Now, like I said, she says, starting to put lather all over your cheeks. There's a good-sized bounty on your head. But there's no way I'm letting them tote you off when I'm still owed. You remember, don't you, that you owe me?
Joe kind of looks up and he goes, I'm not proud of what I did, but if I'm being honest with you, in a way you're a little bit lucky. If it would have been one of the other soldiers, there's a good chance you ended up in a ditch when it was all said and done.
Believe you me, I have spent the last few years just ruminating on how grateful I am. And she takes the razor out and she wipes it on her sleeve. Now, that was 3 days of hard use, she says. She starts to she places the blade against your cheek and starts to pull upward. She's not cutting you. She's actually being very gentle, but I'm sure it's a very precarious situation. 3 days of hard use, plus a few years' interest, plus a month that I didn't get to work from complications. And now, saving your hide from these soldiers. That's quite a bit. And I have a feeling that you don't have that much.
I can't say that I do.
Well, honey, one way or another, I'm gonna get paid. And she continues to shave your face. Oh, Joe, I've been praying that you would return to me for so long. I used to think I wanted to kill you, draw it out, make it last a few days. That'd be fitting, wouldn't it? It's not that you hurt me, not really. It's the humiliation that stings. You didn't give me a choice and you didn't pay neither. So, listen close. Something's happened to make me reconsider that killing you. My sister was taken from me not a few days ago. Only person in this God-forsaken world that ever really loved me. Stuck by me through thick and thin, and I keep asking myself, why? Why would God feel the need to heap more suffering on me after all I've been through? And as she is obviously getting upset, she grips your face a little more tightly, and the shaving gets a little harder against your skin. But now here you are, like a gift, wrapped up in a satin bow and laid here in my lap. And it occurs to me, maybe it ain't God that's been hearing my prayers. Maybe it's the other one. Maybe it's Satan. And we all know anything Satan gives us comes with a steep price. If that's the case, and I traded what's most precious to me in this world for you. And if you're looking up, you can see her face is just contorted with suppressed rage. She moves the blade down to the throat area and she starts to scrape very delicately. Now you tell me, Joe, what is it that makes you worth so goddamn much? What use are you gonna be to me? There's nothing that I hate worse than a bad bargain.
Joe's body is like, she can feel how tense it is, and his muscles are pretty tight as he's not quite sure what exactly Kate is going to do. And the more angry she becomes, the more kind of nervous Joe is, and does his best to answer. He's like, oh, well, I don't know. What do you think is a fair trade?
Fair trade. It's gonna take more than I think you can bargain for in an afternoon. Setting up this meeting with Mrs. Dunn. Well, that's her idea, so you don't get credit. Keeping your mouth shut, you might get credit for that, although I must say it's in your own best interest. She actually seems to get a little less angry as she's thinking in a more calculated way. She pulls out a warm, wet towel and starts to wipe your face off. I think we're done with that, but we do need to do something about your hair. She pulls out like a jar that looks like it's filled almost with something dark, ink or something. Now, Mrs. Dunn, She could be very useful to me, and I could be very useful to her. But to really know how best to be useful to Mrs. Dunn, I'm gonna need to know what she needs, what she wants, what her concerns are, her dreams are, her fears are. So I suppose in that respect, you could be a help to us both. Your Mrs. Dunn and to me.
Are you asking me to spy on her and report back to you?
Well, you can think of it that way if you like, but it might be easier on your conscience, as small as it apparently is. To think of it more as, when there's someone you like and you want to surprise them, and you want to buy them a nice gift, but you don't tell them about it. You know, it's a secret, but it's a nice secret because me and Mrs. Dunn, we're gonna be friends. And anything I know is gonna be to her benefit.
Joe kind of wipes some of the leftover moisture off his face a little, and I suppose that's fair. A life for some help. I told you I wasn't proud of what I did, and I do, as much as you don't want to believe it, I do want to make it right. But betraying Miss Dunn, that's not going to be easy for me.
Oh, I ain't said nothing about betraying. And she actually seems a little impatient. Come here. Let me get your hair done.
Joe kind of slowly walks over and still like kind of just totally flustered by the the horrible luck, and allows Kate to proceed.
She upends the bottle and starts to massage it all through his hair, into his scalp, stopping every now and then to wipe, where it drips with a towel. I've been hearing a lot about this Miss Dunn, this beautiful red-headed woman who had the bad luck to lose a husband and inherit his mines. And what does she do? Does she sell him off and run home to her mom and dad? No. She tries to make a go of it. If I'm going to ally myself with anyone, well, she's the first one that comes to mind. I admire that pluck. I don't wish her ill. I won't be asking you to hurt her. Just keep me in the know is all I'm asking. So if there's something she needs, I'm the first person who has what she needs.
I think that's fair.
Oh, I think it's more than fair, all things considered. Now we'll just let that sit there for a moment. She reaches over to the desk and she takes a piece of paper that's been folded off of it. She opens it up and she shows you. And it's one of the wanted posters.
Joe kind of reads it, and what's it say on there, like bounty and what I'm being sought for?
I don't know. Ted will have to think.
That was for Ted.
Yeah, so it says for what did you do in New Mexico? You have to
cattle rustling.
Yeah, it was for cattle rustling. It's $5,000 bounty, which does seem a bit high for that crime.
$5,000. Oh, they know quality when they see it, and kind of half-ass delivers his joke. But yeah, what? How many Buffalo soldiers are there here? Just out of curiosity.
A few. There were like 7 or 8, weren't there?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know if I got to look at all of them, but I'd say about 8 or 9.
Oh, it's easy to miscount when they all look alike. Did they talk to the sheriff? Or the deputy?
They did talk to the deputy, the sheriff. Well, I think that's a bit irrelevant now.
Quite true.
But what I don't understand is why 5,000 for a cattle rustler? That seems a bit high. What is it that they aren't saying?
Joe kind of thinks for a minute and goes to rub his hand through his goatee and then realizes that it's gone. And oh, well, if it's Buffalo Soldiers, it could be when you and I first met in Tennessee. We did some ugly things over there. It could be something to do with that.
So there might be not just a bounty, but someone's paying for revenge.
It does sure seem that way. Like you said, $5,000 just for a couple of cattle. That seems quite high.
Well, it does seem as though all your chickens have come home to roost. But don't you worry, Joe. I'm watching over you now, and there's no one in this town that you could pick that would do a better job. I'm already on top of it. I don't think we're gonna have to worry about these soldiers too much longer.
If you drove them out of town, it just means I owe you more, and it's the least I can do, obviously. But if there's anything else you need, it seems, I don't want it to seem phony, but I want to make this right between you and I.
She looks at you with narrowed eyes and a skeptical look on her face, like trying to determine if this is some sort of an act you're putting on. And she says, come over here to the water basin and we'll rinse that out.
He heads over to allow her to rinse the dye out of his hair.
As you lean over the water basin, she pours from the ewer onto your head and runs her fingers through your hair, trying to get the dye out. The water in the basin starts to turn black. Well, let me think. She starts to run her hand down your neck. Truth is, I ain't had a man since before I moved to LeClaire. Didn't ever think I'd miss it. Funny, ain't it? How we get accustomed to things being a certain way. I never did have a man of my own choosing, neither. And I'm sad, Joe. I'm all numb and black inside. Grief's eating me like a cancer. I got the girls and they depend on me, but I don't have anyone left who loves me. You can hear some genuine emotion in her voice. So now, you could make me forget about that for an hour. Make me believe it ain't true.
Joe kind of is like baffled by what she's asking for. He's like, I don't understand. After what happened between us, why would you be asking me for something like that?
She hand starts rubbing your hair off with a towel and she lifts your face up and she looks you in the eye. I ain't asking. Joe.
Well, he kind of thinks back to what he had just done earlier, and he goes, well, I guess I don't have much of a choice now, do I? He kind of reaches his hands towards her hips and kind of brings her close in and goes, well then, I guess I should do what you ask now, shouldn't I?
She laughs and says there weren't so much talking before. I remember you said take it like a man. Well, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take it like a man. Everything that I want. You, power, respect to this town, without asking and without anyone say so, just like a man. And she backs up onto the bed and leans back on it.
Sticky Joe kind of like finds himself muttering. He's like, oh, Jesus Christ, Mary, Mother, Joseph. Kind of starts taking his shirt off and obliges the lady without trying to make it too awkward.
Well, after about an hour, she just lies in the bed staring at the ceiling. She's wearing a contented smile, but as she turns to look back at you, it fades. Well, I wish I had more of an imagination. You almost had me believing. All right then. She gets up and starts tossing on her bed robe, and she says, now you remember, when you report back to Mrs. Dunn, don't you be telling tales on me. If I find out, and I always find out, she knows about our history, well, all bets are off. I'll get my pound of flesh, and then I'll see you strung up for whatever it is you've done. But, she says, I have a feeling. And she walks over and just kind of chucks you under the chin. That things are going to work out for all of us.
Sticky Joe kind of watches her get up from the bed and kind of has flashbacks and to both 24 hours ago and a few years ago, and remembers why he selected her in the first place, but for much different reasons back then. And well, I think I can keep quiet what we did here today. And I think the first step to making things square between us will be making sure Miss Dunn knows that you and her will have a mutually beneficial relationship. I swear it.
All right then. Well, I think we're on the same page. And again, she is trying to look kind of smug, but it's like she can't almost hold it together. She just kind of looks sad. All right. She walks over and to the wardrobe and she opens it up. I got this. I wasn't sure what color hat you would be wearing. And if he was wearing a black hat, she's got a white hat. And if he's got a white hat, she's got a black hat.
He takes the white hat and kind of looks at it and adjusts it so he can fit it on his head. He goes, much obliged, and I know it doesn't mean anything from someone like me, but sorry about your kin. I read in the paper, I'm assuming that's who it was.
She turns away, and you can see her hands are clenched into fists. Yes, that was my sister. But we ain't gonna talk about that right now. Now, your horse been taken out back, in case someone saw you come in. I also had it taken out back in case I had to kill you and dump your body in the privy. As it turns out, it's the former.
Well, I appreciate it. It's very, very smart of you.
Mm-hmm. You'll notice that that's the only way I operate. And I can put that to work for your Mrs. Dunn as well. Now, she walks over to the door, knocks on it. Albert, you out there?
He fell asleep.
He's mortified.
Oh yeah, it was muted. Sorry. Yeah, he's like, yeah, of course. You finally done in there?
Oh, I think I had my fill of this fella for the moment. All right, so we ain't gonna kill him yet. You probably noticed that he looks very different now. He has no facial hair. His hair's dyed black, and he's wearing a white hat. What you think? Would you recognize this fella from the one who walked in?
Should I make a roll to see?
Kate, why don't you give me
or is it like
an art roll?
Okay.
Ooh. Fucking shit.
You barely even recognize him from when he walked in.
Yeah, I'd say that's damn good. Fine piece of work, Kate.
Came out a new man.
Well, we'll see about that. All right, then. Since it's got your seal of approval, Albert, you can take him down to his horse, give him his guns back.
All right, then. Kind of turns to Sticky Joe. Come on, then. You on out of here.
Sticky follows Albert down the hall, and now he's kind of put some distance from Kate. He kind of does his best to recover his wounded pride, and he goes, "Oh, Albert, I think you'll want to take a mop up there when you're done. They don't call me Sticky Joe for no reason. Isn't that what you're good for?
Huh?
Isn't that what you're here for?"
No. I tend the bar and make sure no one gets too rowdy.
You guys are heading down towards the bar again, and pretty much your worst nightmare, Sticky, is sitting at the bar. 2 black soldiers.
Sticky kind of looks him, kind of recognizes them as what he assumes is a few of the Buffalo soldiers, and kind of a disgust kind of crosses his face as he has flashbacks of the Civil War, and kind of goes to the opposite end of the bar. And, "Oh, Albert, when you have a chance, can you fetch me my weapons? I feel like it's time for me to leave."
Yeah, I'll have them right to you. And he'll head kind of one smooth thing to the bar, no hesitation, no flinch or anything when he sees the soldiers. He'll start heading up the lockbox and everything.
Kate stands on the balcony and just watches the situation, leaning against the wall with her arms folded across her chest and almost a smirk on her face.
They turn towards Sticky, one with a shot glass. He's looking at him for a long while. You notice that Clem forgot to take these guys' weapons, apparently. And he just looks to Sticky for a moment, and he just raises his shot glass and then takes a drink, clearly not recognizing Sticky in his new getup.
Yeah. Albert grabs weapons. Clem, and he kind of motions to both his shoulders. Good to see you fellas in here again.
Yeah.
Hope the drinks are good.
Well, she's pouring the shots just regular there, fella. Good stuff.
Good. He'll give him a nod and then head back over to Joe with his guns. Pass him along.
Joe gives him a once-over before holstering him, and remembering Kate to tell him to go out the back, he kind of nods and, oh, thank you very much, and looks down at the soldiers and doesn't really do anything, and turns to leave and looks up at Kate as she's standing by the banister or the railing, and kind of nods his hat to her before heading out.
Albert kind of puts a hand on his shoulder, kind of near the back door. Now, it seems like things went pretty well up there, Joe. I hope they keep going that way. Because really, if anything goes wrong, I don't want to have to snap your neck, all right? So keep making Kate happy and things will go well.
He kind of chuckles. Oh, thanks for the warning, but I got news for you. You weren't the first person that tries to kill me, and you won't be the last, probably. Winks at him.
Well, if all things go well, I won't have to try.
Just remember, never bring fists or a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah, why do you think the sign's there? Give him a nod and let him out the back door.
And he kind of laughs and starts whistling as he walks out, doing his best to act like this whole thing wasn't one giant Charlie Foxtrot, and gets on his horse and gallops his ass out of town back to Dunn Manor.
Albert kind of watches him off and then heads back to the bar and gives a nod to Kate and kind of resumes his post unless told otherwise.
Kate just looks down on it. You fellas about done? 'Cause you can have a drink or two when Clem's at the bar and have your irons apparently, but now that I'm here, I'd appreciate it if you turn them over or you turn yourselves out.
They look to each other and shrug. Yeah, we about done. And they take one last shot and push a couple dollars across the bar to pay for their drinks and nod towards Clem. Much obliged, ma'am.
She gives him a smile before they leave and a wave, taking the money and putting in the red. You fellas have a nice day now.
They turn and make their leave. Take their leave.
Did they say anything to you, Clem? Kate says, walking down the stairs as they leave.
Clementine shakes her. No, nothing important. Just there, looking for any engines in the area. Gonna be trying to find Crow, apparently. Still looking for Sticky Joe. Though, they might have said some other stuff, but this head injury is kind of making me forget things from time to time.
Kate reaches over the counter and just kind of pushes her hair back, looking at the bruise on her face. I'm sorry to hear that, Clem. The doctor said it would get better.
It's slowly getting better there, Kate. But only time's really gonna tell.
She nods and looks at both of them. I doubt that Crows will be stupid enough to show his face around town, but... Am I going soft if I say that if he does show up, we might be able to find a place for him to lay low, at least until we can smuggle him out of town?
Clementine nods. Kate, to be perfectly honest, we're not a charity. And, I mean, yeah, he's done some good work, but... Gotta say, come on. Do we really want to put ourselves in danger like that?
He seems a good fellow, but I can't deny she has a point. But you're the owner, Kate. This is your thing.
I know. The old me, I can't imagine she'd even think about it, but with Joe gone, it's like I have a ghost whispering into my ear, hearing what she'd be saying to me. And you know how she was. Soft heart.
Maybe that's not a bad thing.
Kate pours herself a whiskey. You know, this whole world looked down on Joe. I think for her, if that crow do show up, we can at least do something. We won't put ourselves in the line of fire for him, but I don't know, hide him in a closet until nightfall. I think that's something we could manage.
That's fair enough. Not like you'll find me getting caught in a lie anyway.
Whatever you want to do there, Kate.
What did you say, Clem?
Oh, whatever you want to do there, Kate.
Well, I can't help feeling that I owe him a little for you, too. But let's just hope he's not that stupid.
Yeah. He does seem a good enough sort, huh?
Yeah. Can't always judge a book by their cover.
True enough. But you can certainly keep an eye on that cover and see if it changes.
That's true. Well, as you all can tell, I didn't kill old Joe.
Yeah, did anything but, huh?
I decided that he'd be more use to me, and I'd get more. Well, you know, it's just, sometimes death is just quick. And then he started seeming actually sorry, and it started to take the fun out. She starts to pout.
Clementine just frowns and she looks down at the bar, pouring herself a glass and taking a drink. They're never sorry, Kate. They can say as much as they want, but they're never sorry. They just do to save their own hide.
She nods. There's a lot a man will do to save his own hide. I'm counting on it. Just so happens this Joe, he's working for Mrs. Dunn. And Mrs. Dunn is someone whose acquaintance I've been meaning to make. Someone who I think can raise me, the Jewel, all of us up a notch or two in this town. And so for the moment, he's alive. He's alive as long as he's useful to me. More useful alive than dead.
Well, I'll trust your judgment on it. Like I say, maybe you were right. Maybe I'll start to get a little bit soft.
Not too soft, she says, giving you like a false, like a joking kind of a vicious look.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Keep it tempered. It's gonna be some tempestuous days coming up, I think.
Oh, it's always a storm wherever I go.
Certainly sounded like it.
She just shoots him a glance. Well, I reckon pretty soon folks are going to be showing up again, forgetting that they were sad or trying to drink their sad away from the funeral. We best start waking the girls.
Yeah, sure enough. Everyone wants to come drown their sorrows. Alright. Yeah, we'll start kind of cleaning up, making sure everything's prepped for busy hours and everything.
Kate will pour herself another drink, down it, and then, just start walking through the halls, rattling the doors. Wake up, girls. It's showtime.
So what I would like to do, if possible, I would like to switch the scene to Dunn Manor just for a little bit while Sticky goes back. So that would mainly require Matt and Mike. If you guys, Mary could be there too. Aki, if you want to drop, you can. I don't think this will take very long, but I would like to get as much out of this session tonight as possible.
For sure. Yeah, I'll probably listen in.
Okay, cool. Everybody cool with that?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Oops, that's the wrong screen. Sorry. Dunn Manor and Dunn Mine look the same when you're quickly switching it over. I did it again. Holy smokes.
This mine sure is black.
Silence. Give me 2 seconds here.
Quick question.
Sure.
Did my horse maiden, whatever, tell me about Mary?
Yes, she would have.
Oh,
I don't think
good.
there's any way to really keep it a secret, because I'm sure you go out to inspect the horses and you're like,
yeah.
oh,
Every morning.
new horse. This is a pretty palatable. Where'd it come from?
Oh, man.
Let me get you in there. Give me one second. Just Nelson eyes. Sticky, you're riding back to the manor. It's been a kind of an interesting ride, as you have about 30 minutes to consider what that was like. If you want to extrapolate that, go ahead.
As Joe galloped out of town, he eventually slowed his horse to a slow walk and pulled his pistols out. He didn't want to look too excessively at them in front of the Buffalo Soldiers, but as he looks, he feels the weights off, opens the cylinder on each one to see that it's empty, and thinks, Jesus Christ, what if those burrheads would have recognized me? I would have been firing nothing at them. Been 6 feet under by now. And realizing that the bullets are out, he takes them off, the bandolier on his waist. And once he reloads both of them, kind of goes back to searching more of his pockets and reaches back behind his waist and can't believe that his knife is gone too. Instantly thinking back to Clementine and goes, oh, that woman in her hands. Can't believe she was able to pickpocket me like that. And he kind of thinks of his days back in New York and what he was able to do, and is quite impressed by Clementine. Then finally he reaches to the third one and he guarantees it's gone. And he looks to his coin purse and he goes to squeeze it where it is in his pocket and finds that his coin purse is empty. Or gone, excuse me. And he just kind of shakes his head and mutters to himself, if she just wanted my money, she just could have asked for it. This fucking little sprite. Have to have words with her next time. And kind of takes the hat off, looks at it, and starts thinking how the hell he's going to explain what just happened at the whorehouse at the Jewel. And he's riding up to Dunn Manor. He rubs his hands through his hair, and some of the dye comes off just a little bit, and most of it's set in. And He definitely is glad that he freshened up a little before leaving the room, because it's not something he wants Jessa to be aware of.
You rode up to the manor, and it's probably getting close to dark now, dusk, and the sun is disappearing over the mountains. One thing Joe has noticed here in Colorado is it gets dark fairly early in the summer. This is the early summer, but the sun is going behind the mountains, and he rides up to the manor. We'll switch the scene. And Jessa, you and Mary are about to sit down for dinner.
Jessa's been holding back all day. I'm assuming she's been doing the mine stuff. I don't know if the Buffalo Soldiers have come by yet. Probably the sheriff by now. All that other stuff that was. Jessa's been quiet to Mary, really keeping, not really seeing her. You know, Mary's probably been in the stables, that kind of thing. So Jessa sits down. She's got a fairly blank face on, but inside she's seething at the moment. That, well, meeting earlier, and Mary deciding to sneak out after all she's done for her. So Jessa internally is very angry. She wears a blank face when she picks up the knife. She taps the end of it, not the point, but the base. It's the table a few times, staring down at her food before looking up and staring daggers at Mary, just silently watching her.
Mary's been avoiding Jessa all day, and she was going to try to lie about what had happened. But as the day went on and she was brushing down the horses in the stable, admiring the new Palomino, she just can't come up with anything believable that explains the new horse. And looking at her aunt, she wonders if she already knows or suspects something, because she's got a guilty conscience. And so she keeps her head down while they're eating, but eventually just kind of clears her throat. Aunt Jessa.
Jessa doesn't wear the usual smile that she saves for Mary. Just stares at her. What can I help you with there, Mary?
I got a confession.
Oh, you've got a confession. Yes, please treat me as a preacher and tell me your confession there.
She winces at the tone. When we got back from that fancy dress party, I couldn't, it was snowing, and I just kept thinking about that posse that headed out that we heard about from Mr. Sweets, and I knew where they were headed, and I knew that in the dark and in the snow, there's no way they'd be able to find their way. So I headed out there. I took the gelding, not one of the good horses, and well, anyway, I met up with them and I showed them to where they was going. But nobody knowed it was me except for the deputy and Mr. Lou. I wore men's clothes and covered my face with a handkerchief.
Oh, well, that just solves all the problems now, don't it, Mary? Wearing men's clothing, putting on masks, having a young, blabbermouth deputy knowing who you are, and some gentleman, and I use that word very lightly, named Lou, apparently knowing who you are, and that you're associated with me. And you think You think that it's pertinent for you to be sneaking out at night? For you to be... What exactly, in your words, Mary, were you doing? You can see she's actually leaning closer to the table. She's gripped the knife now more fingers closed over it, more in a wielding motion than a using it as a utensil.
Mary leans back and consciously, pushing back against her chair as far as it'll go, getting as much space between her and Jessa as she can, looking a little bit scared. Well, I thought I was helping.
Helping?
Yeah, helping, because, they was after some bad men, and there's been so many men out there lately that, I just started thinking, there's people trying to kill you and people paying others probably to do the killing. I didn't know where any of those men are, but I felt like I needed to do something, just something to stop it. Like if I went after them, it'd somehow keep people from coming after you, she says, and she's actually trying to hold back tears as she's saying it.
Oh shoot, what is that under?
Empathy. Yeah, you're not sure, but there's something she's not saying.
Yeah, she stands up from the table, and you can see a very sympathetic look come across Jess's face. As she gets up, she puts the knife down back against the plate, and she comes over to Mary. She stands behind you and puts her hands on your shoulder. Oh, you poor girl. You're so worried about my well-being and the well-being of others. Well, aren't you sweet? And I'm guessing this whole encounter had to do with getting that beautiful horse that now sits in the stables. That was you, wasn't it?
She brightens at the mention of the horse. Oh, she's a beauty, ain't she? She's a palomino. I don't see any trace of brown or red, no black, just pure gold. And she's just getting all giddy and excited.
Oh. Quick question. Which one was Mary's favorite horse?
She's got a horse, Ladybug. It was one of her breeding stock. I mean, Ladybug.
She's in the stable, right?
Yeah.
All right. So Jessa, she puts a hand on your head and slowly brushes the hair down. Oh. Well, I do appreciate a good horse. And I do appreciate you doing your duty and trying your best. Though I don't quite agree with your methods, but then again, we can't always agree with each other's methods, can we? And she actually kind of looks behind her and she calls out, Maxwell, get in here.
Actually, you're surprised to see he's really close. Yes, ma'am.
You got your rifle, right?
It's outside, ma'am.
Alright. And she actually, at this point, she grabs you, Mary, by the scalp, holding your hair very tightly. She looks to Maxwell. I want you to grab that rifle. I want you to go down to the stable. Take out Ladybug to the pasture and shoot her.
Mary's eyes widen, and she just looks shocked. You can't mean that.
Oh, girl. I mean that. I take care of you. I clothe you. I feed you. I
You
treat
cannot kill Ladybug, she says, and she pushes you away.
Jezebel's gonna attempt to keep a hold.
Yeah, go ahead and both give me hand to hand. It might not be. Yeah, it should be. I guess it is there. Okay. Yeah, you can't quite get away from her. Maxwell is looking completely dumbfounded by this. He kind of starts forward and then pauses, and then it looks like just completely out of sorts. Rosie comes into the room and she's like, ma'am, there's that gentleman's at the door. That gentleman's at the door.
Mary's just struggling and scratching. If you kill Ladybug, I'm going to take your horse. I can't kill your horse, but I'll kill Maxwell.
You want to bet that I'll even let you out, girl? Oh.
Rosie actually runs out of the room.
Maxwell, get Joe in here and do what I ask.
See. And he turns around and walks back, and as he gets there, Joe, you see someone opens the door. It's actually Rosie, and she says, the mistress is going crazy. She's going to kill her niece.
What? What are you talking about? And he just kind of...
Mary's shouting as Joe comes in
you
and
hear...
Maxwell goes out. I'm gonna kill you, Maxwell. You touch my horse and I will kill you dead.
Maxwell, from Sticky Joe, he seems very confused. He's just like shrugs. I don't want to kill a horse, he says, but the lady says I must.
Oh, you go wait outside right now. I'll handle
he just
this.
nods. He just nods and walks out. He doesn't want any part of that.
Don't be shooting any horses. And he kind of slams the door behind him to kind of close it and goes to kind of break up what appears to be a family squabble / cat
Yeah,
fight.
when you walk in, Jess has got Mary by the hair, and she is doing her best to get away, but is unable to.
Jess is just yanking her back, and she looks to Joe, and she slightly registers the fact that his hair is different, but just seeing his figure, she quickly just turns around and again focused. Joe, grab her. Hold her.
And he kind of walks up behind her. He kind of tentatively, like, his surreal day continues to be insane, and walks up behind her and goes, you want to tell me what's going on here?
I will tell you.
Kill my horse for no reason. She's crazy.
Joe.
I thought you loved me, Jessa.
I love you. You got a new palomino, don't you? Joe.
I got it for you.
That's for you.
What are you talking about?
Joe.
What's going on about how
Don't ask questions. Hold her.
he kind of like...
Mary looks up at him with wide blue pleading eyes.
Jessa, what are you gonna do, Jessa?
I ain't gonna hurt her if you grab her.
He kind of slowly grabs her by the arms, the upper arms, just it's okay to Mary. It's all right. Kinds of waits to see what Jessa does now that he's got a hold on her, but it's not iron tight.
Mary just turns away from Jessa and then turns to Joe and just starts crying. He's got her hands and she just sort of leans in.
And he kind of brings her into a hug, and so she can't see Joe's face, and he looks at Jess and he's like mouths the words, what the fuck.
Jessa, she's pacing around the room now. She's rubbing her hand that she was grabbing Mary's hair with, and you can see there's just this anger that's on her face. She looks to Joe, finally taking in the fact that his hair's different and his beard's gone. She looks him up and down. You're asking me what's going on. I asked you to do me one simple thing of get a whore. to my estate and you go get a haircut?
He kind of looks down to Mary and kind of jerks his head off to the side that it's best that they talk in private. And he goes, maybe, perhaps Mary should go up to her room for a little bit.
No. She ain't going nowhere.
All right, then. If Mary's continuing to cry, he kind of awkwardly continues to like hug/console her and continues. He goes, I think we have a bit of a problem.
We have many problems.
Red Kate, she agreed to meet with you. She was quite excited about that. But and just real quick, Slip, I wanted to make sure, like the Buffalo Soldier, it's okay for Joe to mention that part, but really nothing else.
And I forgot to role play it, but we can say that she said that she'd come up to the estate tomorrow for like around noon.
Yeah, they got sidetracked, so that was handled off screen. But yeah, he goes, oh, she agreed to come up tomorrow morning and meet with you, so that was a success. But if you're wondering about this, and kind of takes a hand to point his hair and lack of facial hair, he goes, do you remember what I said I did down in New Mexico? Well, looks like the law has finally caught up to me.
Of course it has. Because everything just keeps piling and piling on.
Well, I have a bit of good news. It seems Kate recognized my face, and she's helping us out.
Oh, lovely. I'm glad a whore's helping you. It's great. She continues to pace around the room, and then she looks to Mary, kind of distracted from Joe. So, you brought me a horse. Where exactly get the horse from?
It was Bill David's horse, she says, right.
You went after them David boys.
I just showed them where to go. That's who they was after, the possum.
You did this out of the goodness of your own heart, wasn't it, Mary?
Well, what other reason would it be?
I don't know, maybe. She paces again. Trying to get in good with the law, maybe. I don't know. Trying to be free somehow. Be as much like a man as you can.
Mary, at that last statement, you know, when you start talking about freedom and being as much like a man, she stills a little bit. Like, you can tell that your comment kind of you hit the nail on the head. Well, if you have your way, I won't have much more of that. Don't you think she starts to turn around, eyes red-rimmed. I'm owed a night or two before I get sold off like a beast of burden.
You really equate what we did last night to me selling you off. Was it not you who hit it off with the young master? Was it not you who were excited about it?
He was nice enough, Jessa, but what kind of life could we really have together? I mean,
a wonderful one of lavishness and luxury, one that you don't have to worry about or fight for, work for. That's what I'm trying to build for you, Mary. Something that your father probably couldn't have given you. He would have given you all this crap freedom. Would have married, I don't know, some sort of bartender or something. I'm giving you the chance to get out. I'm giving you the chance to marry someone high, someone with money. I'm doing you a favor, girl. And you treat me like this by going behind my back and not telling me what you're doing? How do you think that makes me feel?
She starts to feel like a little guilty. I didn't mean to worry you, and I know you mean well, but I don't even know what fork goes with what most of the time. There's no way I can live a life in a big old fancy house like that. I don't belong there.
So, yes, what I'm hearing is that you'd rather be with the common folk. That you'd rather, I don't know, sit around and drink at the saloon, be that kind of girl, letting any
No,
man use her.
I'm not like that. You know I'm not like that. I'm not like that at all.
Then what do you want, Mary?
She stops and thinks for a minute. I want to breed my horses. I want to take Ladybug and... She's all I got left of my dad's. She's the only breeding mare left of our stock. He's depending on me to build the ranch and to make his dream come true.
Jessa steps forward. She comes close to Mary and Sticky, puts a hand on Mary's cheek, gripping the skin below tight. All right, Mary, I understand about having something last. One of your family members, especially your father. I'll make sure that the Mexican doesn't kill your little ladybug, but hear me. If you even step your toe out of line, if I catch you going out in man's clothing, whether I hear about it from someone else or not, if I catch you fraternizing with anyone else who ain't that boy who you be getting married to, I'll make sure to kill Ladybug and feed her to you. Is that understood?
Mary is only half listening once you get past the "I'll tell Maxwell not to kill Ladybug" part. And she bursts out into tears again, and she tries to turn toward Jessa and kind of throw her arms around her, saying, "Oh, thank you, please go find him before he hurts my Ladybug."
Jezebel just ducks out of the way of Mary's embrace, just kind of pushing her to the... Yeah, just get cleaned up and don't touch me. After that, she'll motion to Sticky Joe to let her go. And she'll start making her way outside.
Sticky Joe releases her and lets her go off and looks at Jessa and is like, what did Mary do to earn your ire?
She didn't listen to my request. She didn't obey the obvious request of not going out late at night and not go shooting with a bunch of boys. The other thing she's probably disrespected, and something that you should take note of, listening to my instruction when I first give it. Is that understood?
That's understood.
Jezebel quickly makes her way outside, looking for Maxwell.
Yeah, when you head outside, Maxwell's just standing. He's standing by the door, pacing. And when the door opens, he's... Oh, ma'am! Your friend told me to stay here and not go anywhere, so I thought that...
Oh, Maxwell, may I ask you something very quick? Who are you working for?
I work for you, ma'am.
Exactly why are you taking orders from him?
I thought that he was your friend, and I thought that his... Well, ma'am,
You thought that his word meant as much as mine.
Well, I thought it was your words.
And she actually kind of grips around her waist and laughs before... she actually doubles over a little before looking up to Maxwell, her face turning into a frown. No. If I give you an order, you do that order. If he gives you an order, then I give you an order. My order supersedes it. Is that understood, Maxwell?
See, I'll go to the barn.
No. Luckily, in this case, it worked out. Do not assume ever again. Do you understand?
He just nods.
You habla English?
See?
Good. Now get gone.
He just begins to walk off back into the estate, towards the stables probably, but he doesn't have a weapon with him besides his pistols.
She turns to Joe. And you! And she'll kind of, with her right hand, open palms, give him a slap across the face.
What in Jesus Christ's name did you do that for?
Don't you dare ever question or try to renegotiate the orders that I give my people.
I won't do it again, but I only wanted to do it because I think you would have regretted it later.
I don't regret anything that I do, Joe.
Oh,
Do
so
I
you
look like
don't...
regrets?
You don't... I think you regretted yesterday in front of the mine when you were threatening to kill people in front of a friggin' preacher.
Yes. But that was played off as just hysterical woman. Was it not?
Yes, it was.
Exactly. I regret nothing. So, about Kate. And about this haircut.
What's
What
the
is
matter?
all
You don't
this?
like it?
No. I don't actually.
Well, it seems a group of Buffalo soldiers are looking for me and the price on my head is quite high.
How high is it exactly, Joe?
So, it's $5,000. Seems a little bit high for cattle rustling, if you ask me.
You see Jess's eyes widen at that. 5,000, you say? That's quite a bit of money, yeah, for cattle rustling. Who in the heck did you piss off?
Well, let's not forget, I did tell you about that little unpleasantness that I did out in Tennessee. Might be someone coming for me.
You on those blacks?
It could be them. If they're using Buffalo soldiers, it could be. I didn't leave many people alive. And the ones I did wouldn't be using soldiers.
Maybe you should have helped win the war then.
I can't be everywhere.
You
Can't
just-
change.
Sorry. You can just tell that just Jezebel is kind of in almost full attack mode at the moment. She's just absolutely livid.
Do you want to tell me what's going on? I think there's something more besides just Mary going out with a bunch of boys.
She places a hand on her forehead, the other on her hip as she starts to pace around the front of the house. There's quite a bit going on. Some not good news that came earlier. At this point, everything just seems to be going right. The miner that I was supposed to be doing a deal with, apparently he's gone now. So the mine that I negotiated for is completely out of the question.
Who's trying to come in and buy it from you? Out from...
Probably the Prestons. Or it could be the gentleman who attempted to kill me, considering I warned him about the fact that he was dying. Or could be dying and tried to buy his mine. Now it's up for grabs, so hopefully I can try to sweep out and buy it before the Prestons do, or someone else, but I highly doubt it.
Maybe that's something Kate could help you with.
Buying a mine? You think a whore knows how to buy a mine? You think a whore knows how to read?
Oh, I'm not saying she can read. I'm saying she can listen. I don't know if she has any information for you. But back in the war, we did too much reacting instead of acting. Maybe it's time we find out who's trying to take this mine out from under you and pay them a visit.
Well, that's what I'm hoping happens. And that's why I'm gonna be pleased to be meeting with Miss Kate tomorrow. Gonna have some interesting discussions, that's for sure. She looks so sticky. What barber did you go to? She kind of looks him up and down. I just don't like the color. And you have no chin.
He sits there quiet, just purses his lips and doesn't answer because he knows nothing he says will be right. But he goes, "Oh, let the hair grow back, and we can dye it back if you want to. But we did it to make sure that no one recognized me when I was heading out of town, and it worked well."
We, eh? That's some barber.
Well, I didn't have time for anything professional.
It looks like it. She, again, stares down at his chin. You're definitely going to have to cover that, or we're going to have to turn the lights off.
Well, let me just go ahead and grow a full goatee over one course and one. You want me going around wearing a handkerchief around my face?
You can see Jezebel actually cracks a bit of a smile. That might be preferable.
Oh, God.
And she just puts a hand on his shoulder. I'm gonna go out for a ride. I don't know if you want to join me or not, but I definitely need to have some buttercup time. I'm way too stressed out.
Well, I think that's... Both of us have had a stressful day. I think I'll join you on that ride.
Jessa nods and picks up the front of her skirt as she leads the way to the stables.
You head out to the stables to take a ride. Mary, what are you doing as you've been left alone for a few minutes?
Mary had probably spent a minute collecting herself and then tried to listen to their conversation outside. And after hearing a bit of it, she would have run out to the stables. I mean, she ran to the door to make sure that Jessa told Maxwell not to shoot her horse. And so that's how she ends up listening to this conversation. And as they look like they're headed toward the stables, she runs out another door and heads out there herself. And she probably just sits there and waits for them to leave, sitting with her horse and brushing it down, hugging it around the neck, whispering to it, "I won't let nobody hurt you, Buttercup." I mean, yeah, it's Ladybug. The other one's Buttercup.
As you, everyone is going to their horses for different reasons. Maxwell is standing outside the stables, smoking a cigarette, just shaking his head. He is muttering to himself, "Goddamn crazy people." And with that, the screen fades to black. That's it.